All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome again to the second session of our front-end development workshop by GDSC UPM UMC for tonight. And okay, so if you could recall what we have learned last week, right? We have learned the basics of the front-end development, which are the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So what we will be learning today are the continue of the last session, which are the frameworks that we'll be using in the industry if you go to work and etc. So again, I think I don't have to further introduce our speaker, right? You guys have met him last week. So without further ado, let us welcome Ray Gunn for the session. Welcome.
Okay, thank you, MC. Can you guys hear me? Right. Am I audible? Because I can't see the chat, so maybe I need the MC to tell me whether I'm audible. Can you guys hear me? Yes.
Yes, can hear you.
Okay, cool. Let me share my screen real quick. Okay, so hi guys. Today will be I wouldn't say it's a continuation of the last part because today's will be more, let's say, more advanced or harder in terms of what you'll be learning. Can you guys see my slides showing? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Because I can't seem to access to the chat here. So yeah, having a hard time. So maybe Sarvin, you can WhatsApp me whether I'm good or I lost my connection. Okay. So today's workshop will be more on the tools or frameworks or the tags that are used in, I would say, the work setting instead of HTML, pure CSS, and pure or what we call vanilla JS. What you'll be using is more of libraries or frameworks. Libraries are usually like React, Vue.js, Angular, and frameworks usually we have something like Next.js, Nuxt.js, and Remix. Just some tools that help us to develop more easily, help to speed up the development flow. Okay, so let me go to what I hope that you guys can learn from this session, this 2 hour session, is that we can start to set up our VS Code editor, and then you guys can know how to start a React project, and then you guys can learn how to start using Tailwind instead of pure CSS. It's kind of a trending, I would say, a trending or modern way of doing styling. Instead of pure CSS, you use Tailwind, and I'll further explain more about this theory. And then we'll try to build a landing page, of course, with the help of Tailwind and also Tailwind UI, and then try to let you guys know how to call API using Axios. And then if we have enough time, maybe we can try to host the website using Vercel. And then, yeah, hopefully this is like giving you guys a glimpse of what you can learn in front end for you to prepare yourself for work, for internship, and anything else. Okay, so I'd say today the main part will be the main tools that we'll be using will be React, Vite, and okay. Oh, wait, wait. Yeah, this is Vite, and we have React, and we have Tailwind CSS. So Tailwind CSS is for the styling, the CSS part. React is the library that we'll be using for writing our JavaScript and how we are going to render stuff. And we have Vite, which is a tool to help us start a clean new React project. So today's workshop, I would say, hopefully you guys can go like when I'm writing, you guys should be writing at the same time, or else you guys will be lost because I'll be I'll be starting a project from scratch. So let me, here are some of the stuff that you guys can use. So this is React. And it's a, like what it says, it's a library for building user interfaces. We have Tailwind. So Tailwind is what we call a utility CSS framework. If let's say I give you the example here, you can use CSS like by putting in the class name, and then if you see a W24, H24, rounded full, MX auto, this all seems a bit confusing, seems a bit weird at first. If let's say you guys are not familiar with Tailwind CSS, but then each of these actually represents something. So let me quickly go here. If you guys can see the screen, is it too small? Let me know if it's too small. Try to make it bigger here. You guys can see, okay, PX4, maybe it stands for the padding for x-axis, which is left and right, will be, this is what Tailwind has for the unit. It's called 1rem. Okay, but then this I'll explain more later. And then we have bit. So it's if you guys have tried React before, maybe you guys use create React app, but then Vite is a new contenders, which is a better alternative to create React app. Okay. Is let me see. Okay. If everything is good, maybe you guys can use this raise hand and let me know because I can't see the chat. Okay. So the first step that we want to do is we want to start a new project. So you guys can go to your document file or anything. Usually CD means change directory. So go to documents and I'd say any directory is fine. Still, see. Yeah. So we'll start a new Vite project here. So following the guide here on how we can start a Vite or start a real project. Let's see. Yeah. Before this, I'm not quite sure if you guys have like NVM or NPM available. Any of you like don't have this, like maybe I need to walk you through on how you're going to get this the node packages, the node package manager. Anyone? Like maybe you can raise your hand if any. Okay. So when you guys try to run yarn create Vite, do you guys have any issue on this one? Like running this, like showing any errors? If yes, I might need some like hand raising so I can show you on how you can do the stuff. If no, then I assume everyone's good with this. So like what we following the guide that we have. So for me, I use yarn. So I just write like yarn workshop demo. Now just React, JavaScript. Then if you guys can see here, I already have the workshop demo directory ready. So inside is all the, let's say, the base the base structure of or the scaffold of how a React app is using Vite. So let us go in, see, and then just yarn that. Okay, before this we will need to just yarn to install the packages that we have, the node packages. Okay, it's taking some time here, but then yeah. Let me see. Okay. Okay, so when this is done, then we can try yarn dev. Yarn dev means we are trying to start this locally. Okay, let me zoom in because my screen is, the resolution is a bit high here. So this means we can access this using localhost port 5173. So let me go to Chrome. Let me go to 5173 localhost. Okay, 5173. Then you guys can see this is what it is. A new React app or a clean React app for you to start with. So this is an example. Like when you click on the count, it'll add up. It adds up. So yeah. Okay, now let me Control C to exit this. So I'll try to open this using code, the VS Code. Okay. So you guys can see here, it's opening a new VS Code. So before this, I think there's some extensions that I want you guys to install here. Let me see. Okay, one of them is this. Yes, clean. So you guys go to the extensions bar, the extensions tab at the side. So let me share this. You guys go and search ESLint. Oops. And also another one would be prettier. So I think I'll give you guys maybe 2 minutes to do this. If everyone is good to go, then give me a can raise your hand here using this icon here. Okay, you can raise your hand when you're ready. So it's two extensions here. One is a PTR, just code formatter that we'll be using. and another one will be ESP. Okay. Seems like we have thumbs up, then I'll continue here. So as you guys can see, usually this is the structure. The public is where we will put our resources, our images, our assets. Say you want to like logos or anything, maybe you put it here. Sometimes we will put it here. But then I would say generally you put in public, maybe you put a folder, it's called images. Then you put under this. So as you guys can see, the one that we are seeing just now is actually this app.jsx. So one thing in React is we're using JSX component. If you guys can see here, this seems like a HTML to you guys, but then it's actually called JSX because it's in kind of like React style, or you can directly use JavaScript inside here. So one thing different about React and the normal HTML plus vanilla JS is that the usual way of us doing stuff in vanilla JS is called imperative programming. So imperative programming means that in order for us to create a new button or do some JavaScript stuff, we need to be very precise and about each step, saying, okay, I'm getting the container ID, I'm creating a new button. The button is has this class name, and then I'll add or remove using conditionals, and I have to append to the container or to the document. This is imperative because we are telling them step one, you should create a button, you should choose this, you should do that, and then it's not really a good way or a fast way of doing stuff if we want to build a website really quick. So declarative programming is saying that we are writing the HTML and also using the JavaScript. If you guys can see here, we are mapping. Say array has a 10 items, then we should return a 10 list tag, and then we throw this to the browser or what we call client. Then they will do stuff correctly for us. Means I tell them, hey, this is the final product that I want. The final product is which one? Is this one. This is the final product. And then they will handle the stuff. They handle all this. They under the hood, they actually do this. But then I'm just writing this. I'm not writing this. If let's say I were to write imperatively, it'll be tons of code, and it'll be messier and harder to organize. So this is kind of why we moving from vanilla JS to libraries like React or Vue.js. Yeah. Okay, enough of the slides here. So let us continue here. So if you guys can see, usually in a React application, you have like the main.jsx. If you guys can see here, this part is actually it's kind of familiar, right? Like the one that I show you, document.get the container. So this is basically saying that you're getting the container, and then you want to append the app inside. The app can be HTML or any stuff that you have, like you want to show. So the root here, usually you can find it in, let's say, let me search index.html. You find a root. So any of your app stuff, like anything that you write inside the app.jsx, this one, you'll be appended to this. It'll be appended here. So let me inspect real quick. So if you guys can see, this is the root, and then we have the app append into it. But then I'm not writing imperatively here. Instead, I'm just saying that, hey, I want app to be inside the root. Then it's just that simple here. Okay, is everything cool here? A thumbs up, a resend, anything? Okay. Now, maybe I should use a Slido. If let's say you guys have any questions here, just give me a moment. Open it up real quick. Let me see. Yeah, if you guys have any questions, you guys can put in here. Then you guys can see it and I can answer it immediately. Okay. So this is a app.jsx, and usually if let's say you want to start a new clean project, I'll just scrap this. Okay. Now the first thing here, I'd say open your terminal here. For me, it's a control apostrophe. It's not an apostrophe, but the one at the tilde sign, or you guys can open this, use this new terminal to open up this. So this is basically the same thing that I have here, but then now it's inside VS Code. So let me just run YANDEF to start the project. So for your like additional information, so the YANDEF is actually this. So this is equivalent of YANDEF. Is equivalent of YANBuild. It's in your package.json. Okay. Yep. Okay. Now we have the app running. So for me, I'll script this first. Just remove all of this. And then for this, I will do as well. This. Okay. Yeah. .css. Yeah. Remove this. Then we have error. But then if you guys can see, the error is not showing. But then it's showing here. So remember, I asked you guys to install the extension for ESLint and also Prettier. So both of them have two, like each of the two is for different use cases. For ESLint is for us to detect errors earlier, like which line did we forget to import? Does this file exist? And another Prettier itself is a code formatter where you want to write code nicely. If let's say you see I write like this, then it can reformat correctly for me. So this is an example. So I think we can start by configuring the ESLint, right? So there's this guy. Okay, so the first step will be you have to yarn ESLint, and -dev means it's a dev dependency. It's a okay something you guys it's an extra information. Means when you're building it, it won't use the dev dependency. It won't include the module or packages in your build. Okay, now let me see. Did I use this just moment? Go. Okay. Now the next will be to run ESLint init. So let me make it larger. Okay, too large. Okay, I'm going to say yes, we want to install. Okay, then for me, I just choose the second one. Then JavaScript modules. I think this for this you guys will have to do step by step with me. and then JavaScript modules, React, and also not TypeScript, and browser, and JavaScript too. And then install the plugin, and then yes, install the plugin, use Yarn for me. Okay, great. Now that we have the ESLint file ready, so if you guys can see here, there's some errors showing. We have to create ESLint ignore. Then we'll put ESLint rc.cjs. Then it ignore here, means it won't check this one. And then git ignore is something like you wouldn't push these files onto your Git repository. Extra information, yeah. So for the ESLint part, is everyone okay with it? Is everything good for ESLint? Maybe some raise hand if it's everything is good. Okay, I hope you guys are following because I can't see the chat. So feel free to open a mic if you guys are stuck at somewhere. Don't be shy to open your mic so I can help you with it. Okay, so now that we set up the ESLint, when we go to here, we'll see some errors. So this is saying that React must be in scope. Means for us to using JSX, we'll want to import React. And then this is saying that, yeah, we need to import React from React. And then here, it's saying that the variables are not used, even though we assign some values. So I think we should remove this as well. Okay, so the error here is saying that index.css does not exist here. So we should remove this. Okay. The same thing here. Okay, then there we have it, empty. But then when we try to put something here, H1 maybe, so heading one, it will show. So this is for the ESLint part setup, and then now we have a plain, I would say, React app for us to start with. Okay, now before we start with the React part, let's say I want us to, then we go here. On the pretty, we can just copy from here. So you guys can go to this, copy this file and put at your root level, and then it should work. Put it here. Okay, rc.js, and copy the content. Okay, not this one. And put it here, and when we are seeing that, okay, because this is the configuration files, we don't need to check the linting or formatting. So under ESLint ignore the other ptrc.js. here. See, am I writing it correctly? Okay. Now, I would say we'll go into setting up a Tailwind so we can start today's workshop. So let's just go here and sync it. You guys can copy the code from here. So now what we'll do here, we will skip the first step because we already created our project. So we'll do it here. So copy the back part, like ignore for the npm install, we'll use yarn add. Okay, so that's yarn add. Let me see, what do we have? It's Tailwind CSS, everything here, basically everything here. And you add a dash D at the last part. So it's again the development dependencies. So after installing this, the packages, you need to run npx tailwind css in it. Means you want to initialize the tailwind css. So you'll see some files will be created for us, like post css. They need to add this as well. Add this to the git ignore, not git ignore, just link ignore. Here as well. So the others will just like following here. So we'll replace this part. This part's mean where can we apply the Tailwind CSS? We can, so this means we can apply directly at the index.html, and we can apply to any folders, any files with extension of JS, TS, JSX, TSX inside our source folder. Means maybe components or anything. And then we go to our, okay, now let me create, now let's create a new index.css. Now let's run. Okay, now let's run that. Let's see if it applies. Okay, so at main thing I have import from, yeah, slash. Let me just go. Okay, let me see. Tailwind config. Okay, it's applied. app.jsx. Okay, let me see if it's working. Okay, this one. Okay, it's not applied yet. Let me figure it out. Let me see. Tailwind. Next question. Let me see if I miss anything here. Okay. Okay, so now it applies. So as you guys can see, I changed it to, okay, the font size is too small here. But as you guys can see, I have a red color heading here. Let me go into here. Okay, so we have to import the index CSS from index CSS in our main.jsx. So the index CSS, as you guys can see here, is actually saying that, okay, I want to apply some Tailwind styles here. So if you guys are interested in these, you guys can go into their documentation and they'll explain more here. Like what Tailwind base means, what components mean, what utilities means. Yeah. But then before that, yeah, I think yeah, like one step ahead. Now, is everything good? I need some reasons. So I hope that you guys are still following me. Thumbs up or raise hand. Okay, then I'll continue with this. So some examples that I want to show is so basically this is just like a HTML and CSS. It's just that there are some different stuff that you guys can play with it. So when I'm using JavaScript variables, so this is I'm writing a string here. So title 1. So I can directly use the JavaScript here from here by using a open bracket, like curly bracket. Then I can put title. As you guys can see, it's updated here. And then before this, when we are using HTML, remember we have something like a class and ID, but then in JSX, we are using class name. ID is still the same, but then we are using class name instead of class. So let us just start with something simple. Say I want to create a card component. Let me see, what do we have for card component? Okay, so maybe I want to create something like this, a card component. A simple, say, we'll start with the data inside here. So in React, the first thing that I think you guys can follow me is let's start from here, from the app itself. So we know it needs to have a container, and then it has a title. So I put a H1, and maybe it has a information on the description. What spec does it have? So let's just let's put a class name of card. Okay, so just for it's not a real like Tailwind CSS here, but then it's just a telling us that this is a card. So later we can export or we can kind of like take it and become a component so we can reuse it anywhere. Description. So, okay, my screen is a bit big here. So for Tailwind, there's a when we want to apply background color, remember in CSS what we do is okay, in React we can do inline styles as well. So we do style and then we put an object. So in JavaScript, object. This is what we call an object. Open and close curly braces. And then we have something like background color red. And then if I want to pass it in, then this means it's accepting a JavaScript value or variable. So I'll put that example. Then it has a background color red. But then in HTML, what we use for background color is background color. So this is actually what we call a camel case in JSX. Inline styles properties are usually camel case. Camel case means if you see this is like camel, they got a hump. So yeah. So this is how you can do an inline style. Example for inline styles. Okay. Div class name. Yep. This is example for inline style. But then in Tailwind, it's much easier. So if you guys type BG, and then for me is Command I, then it will trigger the auto suggestion, which is, if you guys can see here, all of these colors is something that is provided by Tailwind. So we don't have to say use a specific Tailwind code, we don't have to use a specific color code or RGBA or HSL, because out of the box, Tailwind already provide us colors. If you guys can see here, let me find the color that they have. Okay. So by default, they already provide us a wide variety of colors for us to use in our applications. So we have different colors, for example, red, and then let's say it's a different saturation, different hue, where some is lighter, some is darker. So for example, let's say red, and then if I click, for me, I'm using a MacBook, so Command I is what I use to trigger the auto suggestions. Then you can see the colors here. Like I can choose this. And then if I hover over the Tailwind properties, then you can see this is the actual CSS styles that are applied. So it's BG rate 400. Okay. So let us go back to here. So we can see it's spanning across the whole screen, which I think not what we want for now. But then I think it's fine for us to continue with this. Yeah. So for the cut, maybe I want to make it have to have border radius. So for border radius, what we usually use is something called rounded. And for rounded, there are different different type of sizes available. The default one will be 0.25 frame. Like if you guys have attended last week's workshop, I explained we have different units in CSS. We have PX, we have percentage, we have EM, REM, and view width, view height. So REM is what used in Tailwind because it's standardized. One rem, one REM is equals to 16 pixel. So this is the most standardized way of doing stuff. Because imagine in pure CSS, if we are developing a website, if some places 8 pixels, some places 9, some places 10, some is 7.5, you tend to come up with weird numbers. But then if we are using Tailwind, we are using RAM, we are kind of limiting the choices that we have. This is kind of what we call a design system where we standardize things. So for example, LG, I'll use LG, and then you can see this has become rounded. So I think, yeah, this looks fine for now. Yeah, I changed to a nice color here. We give it a gray color. Let me see what do I have. Maybe amber. Okay. So for titles and paragraph, if you guys can see, the H1 and P tag here is unstyled, like it's without any styling. And then if I go back the main.jsx and then I comment out the /index. This is what the default look of a H1 tag and P tag in HTML. So when we are using Tailwind, remember the three stuff that we are adding here. So Tailwind base is actually what we call a CSS reset. It's a CSS reset. You mix everything as clear all the CSS. Default CSS style. Because you can see just now the H1 tag is larger, the P tag is smaller, the H1 tag is bold, and the P tag is like normal font weight. So this does some magic of resetting the CSS. And going back to ReactJs. So now for text, usually we have a few properties that we use to, I would say, style things. So for instance, we have text, and for text we can do something like the text size. So we have base, which is 16 pixel. We have XS, FN, LG, XL, and up to 9XL, which is a very huge font size to use. So text XL here. And then we have we can change the text color if you want to. So say text what color should we give? Okay, slate and 800. So we can change the text color. So if you guys are more like when you're getting more familiar with Tailwind, you'll find out it's actually the color naming is actually the same. It's just like you have to change the background, like changing the first, I'd say the prefix. Like if I want to set a border color here, what I will do is I set border and say red 500. Then I can set a border color here. And then we're gonna set a border in CSS. We usually need to specify the width. So I'll put border. So this you'll have a 1 pixel border here. So, but then I can also add say border 2 or other sizes. Okay. So yeah. Wait, let me know if I'm going too fast, too quick, or you guys have any questions. Now going back here, we have class name equals to, let me just use text MD for this one. Okay. Yeah, let me remove the border and explain more on the properties that we usually have for Tailwind. So we have text, this is for align width. So if we have text right, then it will be aligned to the right. So we have center, justify, and besides this, we have font size, not font size, but font weight. It's actually font bold, font mono. Okay, sans serif and mono is for setting the font family, what you want it to look like. But then we have the font weight is like this. Then we can know it's 100 font weight. And then we have others. So font weight usually is also 100 900. So let me set it as bold. And this vector set as medium. Okay. So now when we want to create a different cards here, okay, before this, let me just create a div. Yeah. So this is what I'm going to show you guys is what we call an abbreviation, which is a shortcut to creating a div with class names. So maybe I'll create a grid with a grid column 2, 3. Wait, okay. Release a desktop grid. Then create a div here. This is what we use when we're gonna create grids. So this is saying that I want 3 columns. So if you guys can see here, if let's say we are not using JS or any stuff, then we have to do this, right? This is title 1, title 2, title 3. And then I can give them a bit of gap here because I don't want them to stick here. So for grid, we have a gap. This is a property that we can use to set a gap between the grid items. Okay, so as you guys can see here, we wouldn't want to do this. This is what we call hard coding. This hard coded means how many times the item is there. I want to like repeat. I just copy and paste, copy and paste. This is not what we want. So I'll first show an alternative here, like how we can do this. Because it's JSX, we can use a JavaScript here, inside here. So first thing, maybe you can cut erase. And then inside we'll have the title. This is title 1. Yeah, description. And this is title 2. This is a description. Okay, 2 and 3. So what we can do here is actually in JavaScript, we have a concept or a function that can help us to do stuff. Like we want to look through every array here. Okay. Now, let me go to the basics. So let's open a curly bracket. If let's say we want to use JavaScript inside a JSX element, say, okay, shit, I have not been using this for loop for a long time. Let me search quickly to get the correct syntax here. Okay, for let I equals to 0. Okay, I'll just copy this. Let me see for K. Return div. Let me see where it works here. Okay, a follow concept. Okay, then okay, the concept is we want to do a follow here to map every items here to create a card component. So what we can do is using the array here, card arrays dot map, means we are mapping each item, card item, and then returning. This is what we call an arrow function. So we can return. Okay, to make things simple for you guys. Usually, if let's say I'm doing this, then I can return what is inside. So if I put it here, item, okay. If I put it here, you guys can see it's creating the same thing. Okay. So this is equivalent of this. Okay, sorry. This, and then we get this is the same thing here. And then why are we having an error here? It's saying that we are missing a key prop. A key prop means when we are doing mapping or stuff, we should have key prop to do stuff to help us or help the browser to identify which item is this. Because when we add new stuff, we don't want to mess things up. Because browser sometimes it will mess things up. Say when you add a new item, it becomes the second one, the third one, the order is messed up. So just put cut dot title we do here. Okay, as you guys can see here, it's outputting title 3, description is also 3. But then what we want is we want to get the values from the object or the array, the variables that we have from here. So if we try to console log here, so console log is basically we can check from the browser what is happening. So we can get the information here. So you guys can see. Okay, we have object 1, 2, and 3 returning from here. And let me see. Yeah, so this is the object. So how we can use it is like this. If I want to set a title from the object itself, from the cut item itself, I use cut item dot title and cut item dot description. And you guys can see it changes here. So it's actually render dynamically. So I can remove the hard-coded part here. And we are left with this. So anytime when the data changes, usually we won't be hard coding stuff. Usually this is like some arrays from some APIs that you're calling, the responses that we return. Then you can see, okay, the data is changing accordingly. Okay, now let me just clean things up before we continue. Heading here. T2. Yeah. Okay, then this looks nicer here. And some different stuff that I can show you guys is because you guys see here, if this is clickable, then I want it to be a pointer. So I can do something like hover and then pointer, cursor pointer. So this is what we call a pseudo selector. So whenever it's hover, you can see this is applied. This cursor pointer CSS is applied. And to bring a more obvious example, you can be maybe a ring of a rate 300, then ring offset. Okay, so whenever I hover, then you guys can see a ring here. So this is just part of the pseudo selectors that you guys can use. There are more pseudo selectors in the documentations where you guys can go and have a look, like hover, focus, and other stuff. So today will just be a like brief introduction. So hopefully you guys are feel interested and think that okay, actually doing stuff, creating a website, doing React, doing styling is simple like this. So you guys won't be afraid or intimidated to start your new your journey of learning or your new project. So in React, what we do is what we constantly emphasize is components. We want things to be reusable. We don't want to repeat ourselves. This is kind of the drive principle. So now the first that we can do here is usually we can say like refactor, then we can extract into a function. Because if you guys notice, this is a function. So every JSX component, it can be a class component, older way of writing things, or the new way of writing things is everything is a function. So I can copy this, and then below here, I put a constant cut component, close to, and then the cut will return this. And then you guys might be wondering, if let's say I put a cut item, does it work here? Yeah. So this is what we call a props. This props like this. Okay, let's just try here. Cut item. So when we create a cut component or anything, any component, how we can call it is we just write it like HTML. Yeah. And then, but then in like real HTML documentation, you won't see something like a cut looks like this, right? So this is what we call a GSX element. If you guys can see here, it's an element that we write ourselves. And then for us to pass in the cut item, we can't do it like this. We need to be like doing props. So usually we have cut item. Okay, upload title. So here we have to replace with props. Okay. Let me see. Okay, then you guys can see it's added back. So usually it's like this. And here I think we need a key. Let's just add a key here. So it's either we do it like this, or we can do something. This is what we call, this is the props object. So inside the props object, we have something like this. These are what we call the properties that we set. We have title, we have the description. Then we can actually do something like, this is what we call destructuring in JavaScript, where I just I open a curly braces inside the bracket. I put title and description. So you can remove this, remove this, remove this. Yeah. And then you guys can see now we are using cut component. It's much cleaner, and we don't have to, like, it can be used elsewhere. So if let's say I use export this cut component, then I can actually use it somewhere. So if now I create a new, okay, and So I can actually use the card here, since I can import from the app just now. Yeah. Yep. So this will be one of the key concepts in React, which is components. We are component based. We want to have a lot of components that is reusable, and we can pass in the properties instead of hard coding, and we can use it anywhere. Okay. Let me see. How much time do I have left? Is everything okay so far? Feel free to open your mic and ask me questions about this, all of the stuff that I just went through. Yep. Okay, heard someone open their mic.
So far, so clear.
Okay. Okay, thanks, Koyin. Now, how about others? If everyone is good, then I can show an example on how we can call API and use the data from API to render stuff. Let me see. What do I have on my plate? Okay. Okay. This is okay. I think we can do the React router today. Then we'll do this. Okay. Now, let me send you guys this one. So this is I would say a fake API. That API that generates a dummy or test data for us to try out. So it's very suitable for you guys to try things out as a beginner, or you want to do stuff with React, but then you don't know how to create your own backend code to expose the endpoints. Then you can use this. So, but no worries, I'll show you guys step by step. So the first thing that we want to do here is actually go to Axios and we want to install this. So this is the command itself. Yeah, Axios. So Axios is a tool that we use to fetch it's HTTP client. It's basically what we use to fetch things, or we use to call APIs. And then just to be brief, there are like few types of requests that we usually do or we usually use. For RESTful API, there will be like post request, get request, and also we have patch or delete. But then those are not that often used for my personal experience. You mostly use get. Get is saying that you want to get some information from the API. So usually you send get, and then you get a list of data from the API. And another one will be post. Post request is more on, I'd say generally you guys will use it in sending something. You want to create a new item. You want to create a new user that you use post the request. But then for my own, for example, my own project, the project that I'm working in, we are using post request to get the data because we want to pass in request body and parents as part of the filter. Yeah, so post is not necessary just for sending data. We also can use it for this as well at some particular cases. Yeah, so enough of that. I think you guys added yarn axios, you guys run yarn axios, then we can start using axios. So to use axios, we just import axios from axios. Then, okay, let me send this as well. The photos. Okay, so in the app.jsx, we import axios. Then we can do axios.get request. And then, okay, let me refer here. Okay, done get request. Then we'll put in the API, which is a /photos. Yeah, here /photos. Then we use then bracket. There's a response. Then we'll have to okay. Now we can console.log the response to see what it is. We use .data. So going back here, you guys can see we have 5,000 of array of data here. So each of these is say a dummy data for us to use. And then each of the object looks like this, where we have a thumbnail URL, we have a URL, we have the title, we have the ID, and the album ID. So now the first thing is we want to store this data. So how we can store it is actually through using a state, which is something like a storage that lives in the browser, but then every time we refresh, it get like updated, refresh again. So you guys can do something like this. Use state. So in React, there's another concept that we often use is called hooks, where we can use them to do different kind of things. So for use state, it returns a stateful value and a function to update it. We also have something called use effect, which is related to what we call a browser lifecycle. When something updated and we want to do something, say when user updated, then maybe I want to send some request. Then in that case, then I'm going to use effect. So for this, you guys can go to the docs and then find the life cycle, hooks. There you guys can see. To see more about the hooks example, but then today I'll be only using the use state. So how we use this is, okay. Now, before I use for this Axios example, let me just show you guys a really quick example. So if let's say today I'm using a counter, it's set equals to C equals to 1. Okay, let counter equals to 1. Then maybe I'll use it here. Counter, and then just make it obvious. And then I have a button here. Click me. And usually for button, we have an on-click function. Every time on-click, I want the counter to be like at 1. Counter ++. Yeah. console.log counter value. If you guys can see, the counter value is actually increasing, right? But then why is it not updating in the HTML or in the browser itself? It's because it's a stateless object. So when we are updating the value, the browser actually doesn't know that it can update the value. So it should render a new value. So in this case, this is why this is stateless, because it does updates. So if let's say it's stateful, then then it can updates when the value changes. So this is the quick example on why we are using useState. So now, if let's say we are using useState instead of this, so usually we use constant, put a square bracket, then counter, set counter equals to useState, and then the initial value. So I'll put 0 here. So if you can see here, the counter, we don't change the counter directly by using counter plus plus, but then we use set counter instead. Counter is the value, and set counter is what we call a set state action or a function for us to change the state value that we have. So instead of doing this, we can do a set counter, and then okay, this is a bad example. We shouldn't use a counter plus plus. Yeah, let me see. Okay, although this is working, if you guys can see here, okay, it's updating, should be updating here as well. But then this shouldn't be how you are doing stuff. I mean, if let's say, because this is actually what we call previous value. So if let's say we want to set a new value, like 20, this is possible, like this, then this is fine. This is fine. But if let's say we are doing counter plus 20, then this is not okay. We should do something like this. This is the previous value, and then we return the previous value plus 1. This should be the correct way of doing things. If let's say we involve the previous counter value. So yeah, so this is working, and this should be how you are using the state. Okay, so after showing the counter example, now I'm going to use it for the data that we have. So remember, it's this will return an array or a list of data, a list of objects where we can use it to render different things. So let me just copy this so you guys can paste in your code editor. So what we can do here is constant the photos and also set photos. And we use useState and make it an empty array. So for the console.log, we change it to set photos. And then because the photos is actually quite a lot here, so maybe for the first, maybe at first I'll just do something like photos, like curly brackets, because we are doing JavaScript. We want to map these photos dot map. Maybe there's a photo. This is what we call the item inside. But then usually we name it like semantically, like we name it something meaningful, like photos inside it's photo, so we can know what exactly it's like. We don't do something like this. This is a bad thing, because when someone want to come to your code and review it, they won't know what P is. Yeah, is someone asking any question? Yes, no. Okay, is that an accident? Okay. Okay, then I continue. Okay, then we can do something like p tag, and then maybe the photo dot thumbnail URL. The key photo.id. Okay, okay, then now we can see this is the whole images that rendered that we have from the API. So maybe I just take the first 20 will do as our example. And then now when we're gonna render images, we use image tag img. So let me just put this. And then okay, the key shouldn't be here. Image has a source. So it will be the photo.thumbnail URL. But then we are having an error. So this is actually saying that when we are returning for JSX element, we can't return something that has two parent elements. If you see, this is considered one and this is considered one. They don't know which one is the main or parent div or container for this. So one thing that we can do is either we add a div tag. It's either we add a div tag or we can actually add something like this is what I call a fragment. Yeah. So this is a legit thing where we don't want to render a div, because if let's say we render a div, then when I inspect, here you guys can see it's wrapped by a div. But then when I'm using a fragment, it's not wrapped by a div itself. So then I think div is fine here. And then we add a key. And then let me just use a grid as well. Okay, so you guys can see there's no gap. So again, we're going to be using the gap property here. And for this, we're going to make it smaller. Let me see. Text. Okay, SM. And then if I add a background color here, okay, this is an overflow. We are going to do something. This overflow here means anything outside of the div itself. Like this one, this is a div. Anything outside the div, like this, will be hidden. So this is just one example. So usually we want to have some padding at the side as well. Okay. So this is how it look like. And then we want to round it. Yeah, let me see. Okay, not this one. This is the grid container itself. Okay. So now we have the data returned from the response, and then the images returned from the response inside the object, and we have the text itself. Then let me see. Yeah. So if you guys can see, the images is actually not fitting the whole cut or section that they had. So at this, I'd say what we can do here is actually use some of the CSS properties that Tailwind provided. So it's called object fit, where we can do something like, okay, this is for, yep, this is correct. So let me just quickly go here and I set a class name for this, for our image. Be full. And then we can set object fit. It should be object contain, object fill. Let's say we do a height. Okay, this is too small. Yeah. So if you guys can see here, so object fit means how we want to position our images, how we want it to look like. So cover is something is where you're showing the full thing. If let's say contain, you'll maintain the aspect, but then you'll have like empty spaces besides. And then we have fill, which is like stretching to the whole thing. So usually it's cover or fit. Yeah, let me go here. Okay, not fit. Yeah. So we have scale down. Yeah, so these are some of the common things. So I think I usually use object cover or object contain, depending on the use case. And then now we have this. So what we can do here is maybe on click, we wanna open a new tab, say. Because okay, usually I'm using Next.js, but then in pure React, I'm not quite sure what's the convention or correct way of doing things. But then what we can do is window.location. Let me see. Router.push doesn't work here. Location. Href. So let me just try this out first. Okay. So I think that one will send us to window.location. Okay, replace. To replace is the correct one. Where is the function? Dot push. Okay, but then I think this will work. So okay, this doesn't. Okay, never mind. Let me go by here.
Nice talking with you.
Okay. Let me go back to here and then this is part of the debugging process. Okay. React to let me see. Okay, all of this is from Red Router. So I think by default they have a Red Router or not. Red Dot. Okay, disclaimer here where I don't really work with pure React. So there's some mistake here. So don't mind if I do some debugging real quick. Location address, GPS, try this. Okay. Yeah. Okay, this works. So what we can do here is actually adding a, okay, we don't need a curly bracket because we are already inside. We will put in a photo dot thumbnail URL. Then when we click on these photos, then we are redirect to the images itself. So this is an example. So if you guys want to try out, you guys can actually try doing, I mean, this is a bit advanced where there's a model where we can try to open a model. Say when we unclick, then it will be showing the images, some details, then we can send ourselves going to that. So this components here is headless UI, which is a component built by Tailwind for us to, for developers to work quickly. We don't have to design some of the functionalities. It's already handled under the hood. So we just use a very quick, using dialog, for example, we can very quickly set up a model, or example, a list box. Okay, this one. Like if I want to search some users, I can quickly do it from here. So this is from headless UI. Yeah, moment. Let me see. Yeah, I think I'm done with this part where we can call stuff. We can call an API from using Axios from an API using GET request. And then we can able to set the photos in the states. And then we are able to render the images on the card correctly using the data that we have. Now I think I'm going to show you guys some of the references that you guys can use. So when building projects before we wrap things up. So let me close my terminal here and show you guys another terminal, another. Okay, so if you guys can see here, this is actually a landing page that I didn't kind of build myself, but not myself, because I'm using the code from what we call a components library. So for example, Tailwind, they have a component library called Tailwind UI. So you guys can go and have a look. When usually when you want to start a new project, then you might want to, because for projects or landing pages, there might be some shareable things that you don't know how to start it correctly. So you can get reference here, or you can trade using the code from here. So there's a free and paid. You can pay to get more stuff. So the example that I'm showing here is paid. So for the free stuff, there's a lot of things available already. Yeah. So let me just go in one of them real quick. So here, the hero section. Let you guys compare side. So I'm using here from here. So they actually allow you to change to pure HTML or view for the code. So when you guys want to do stuff, you guys can refer from here. So it's not saying that you must use the code exactly from here to build the page. Maybe sometimes you want to refer for, say you want to build a navbar, but you don't know what's the better way of building a navbar. So you can use Tailwind UI as an example. And then maybe you want to build some sections like this is the feature section. So, or a footer, but then you don't know what is the correct way of, not the correct way, but a better way of doing things in Tailwind or in React, then maybe you can refer to this Tailwind UI. Yep. Let's see. So to show you guys how I did it is I copy the code and then put it here in, yeah. Where I copy the components, the code from the Tailwind UI and then put it into components. So I have features component, footer component, header component, and then in the landing page, I will import the component and then use it here. So this is how usually stuff are being done in React, where we have routes. Routes are just like pages, where we have landing page, we have a showcase page, and then inside each page, we have a GSX element. Maybe so this is the page itself. So this is how it looks like. What components exist inside a page, and this is one of the ways of writing things. You can either create a folder and then write index.tsx or index.tsx if you're using TypeScript, or you can script using features like the name.jsx. So basically saying that index.jsx, both of these are doing the same thing. So it's just a matter of preference. Yep, I think that's pretty much from me to give you guys a brief introduction or exposure on on React, on Tailwind UI. Yeah. MC, do you want to take over?
All right, sure. Thank you, Ray. Thank you very much. And I think all of you are pretty clear about the frameworks already. And maybe you can start to do your own projects already. All right, so now we will move on to our Q&A session. So if you have any question or any part that you are not sure about, not understand, you can click into the Slido link, or you can scan the QR code that is presenting right now. Just a minute. Yeah, and then type your question in there, and we will read it out for everyone, and of course for our speaker to answer it. Okay. Our technical, please share the Slido. Or is it shared already? I couldn't see it. Maybe my internet have a little bit problem. Oh, okay, I can see it already. Okay, so we will go through the questions one by one, and while we are going through, you can just continue to scan the QR code and continue to enter your questions in the app. We will proceed to your questions afterwards. All right. So first question, why use a specific CSS type? Why not just use vanilla CSS?
Okay, let me see. So for CSS, it's not CSS type, it's just things that or tools that help us to do CSS more easily, or in general, it's like improving the development flow. Like we wouldn't want to spend time to do things unstandardized way in the unstandardized way. So Tailwind is just one of them. We have other stuff. So if you guys are interested, you guys can go and search for style components or emotion.js. No, yeah, emotion.js or emotion CSS. Then that's, let's say, other conventions of doing CSS. Yeah. So today I'm just like introducing one of them.
Okay. So next question, for a more in-depth knowledge on React, where should I go to learn it? Preferably free course online.
Let me think. Because for myself, I didn't really use any course for React because I start from React Native like during my internship.
Oh,
But then but then I think that's a lot on YouTube. Yeah, this but then for me, I think it's okay to like pay for Udemy courses because personally, from my experience, if you pay for during the offer, you don't pay for the full price. Okay, the offer is like usually one course will cost 40 or 50 ringgit, but then you get a lot of information. You can learn a lot of stuff inside that Udemy course. Yeah.
Do you have any specific website or anything that you recommend?
Wait, let me go and search a bit.
Okay, sure. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, let me send to Savin. So this is a HTML, CSS, and JS. This is for web dev in general. Not sure if they teach React, but I can search for ReactJs one.
Okay. So yeah, I think you guys can actually search for it, Google it, and they're pretty much websites or resources that teach React. And yeah, Udemy also one of it.
I think it's worth to like pay for the knowledge. If let's say you just buy one course and finish it, then you actually gain a lot from it and you can use it in your work or internship.
Yeah, it's an investment. Okay, so I think we can go to the next question, right?
Yep.
Okay, so what is Asia's used for? I could not understand just now.
Okay, let me share my screen. But then can you guys see my screen? Right, I'm sharing.
Ben, I think you need to stop share for, yeah, okay. Great.
Okay. Yeah, a nicer one. Okay. So just now we are client, and then we have a server. So this is the server. So for us to talk to the server, we need to send requests. And then how we are sending requests is we can use there are a few things that we can use. Example is HTTP client, which is example Axios that we are using just now. You can use something like React query, search API. You guys can search these keywords, okay? So it's basically helping us like from client side to send requests to the server, and then the server will like send us back like give us the response. And then yeah, I think I can answer the .get and .then part here as well. So usually we have a RESTful API, and then we have a get post request. get request is like we want to get information from the API endpoint. And post request is we want to send information to the API endpoint. So basically what we have here, if we are using axios.get, is saying that, okay, I want to send a get request to the API endpoint. And we have something like .10 because what it returns is it returns a promise. So this is something a bit a level more than beginner. This is what an async means. We wanna, how do I explain this? We wanna resolve the promise before we can continue. So it returns a promise, and then .then. .then means it's the promise is resolved. Then usually that's the response that we get. So using the response, we are doing something with the response. And then we have another thing called .catch. So .catch is usually error, where we will do something with the error. So like what I showed you guys just now is where the something that we did with the response is let's just get .then response. What I did is I set state for using the response data. Means I wanna store the response in a state object. Okay, does this answer the question?
I think yes. Hope the one who asked this question is more clear about what you asked already. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. Then I think we move on to the next question.
Yeah, I'll stop sharing.
Okay, I can just read it out actually. Okay, so is it just enough to learn HTML, CSS, and JS only, but not until React or Tailwind because they are much more difficult?
Yeah. So there's two ways. It's either you learn some basics in HTML, CSS, and JS, then you jump into React, or even if you want to start with React, it's fine. It's actually not that hard because maybe it's even faster if you start just with React and CSS, but then not Tailwind. Tailwind, you can wait until you have some more like experience in React and CSS, then you can start doing Tailwind.
But what if they learn only HTML, CSS, and JS, but not until the framework? Like, is it okay?
Yeah, it's pretty much like fine, like because you're still learning the web development, you have the concepts, then it helps when you start learning React or Vue afterwards.
Okay. So next, React, Vue, or Angular JS is better.
So for me, actually, I only learn React. I only use React in my work. Yeah, for my company specifically. For Vue and Angular, I couldn't really give any comments, but then it depends. See how you want to define better. Is it the convenience of writing code, or if you want to ask for job availability, the market, whether more company use React or Vue? I would say it depends on the location as well. But then if you're using React, it's kind of like most people use React, like in Malaysia, as far as I know.
Okay, but just focus on one first until you actually understand it lah. Don't learn this one then learn that one.
Okay, so for React and Vue, right? I would say you learn either one, and then when you want to learn the other one, it will be easier. But then for Angular, I think they are using TypeScript, which is a bit hard for beginner to start with. Yeah. So React or Vue will be the best starting point.
Okay. So the last question is, does SASS or SAS still available right now?
Yeah, it's you can still use it. Like people still use it. I think my project still use it, but then I don't know. I personally I don't really use it like for the variables or features that provided by the post CSS. I just use Tailwind. Yeah, yeah. That's the answer that I could give.
Okay, okay, thank you. And is there any more questions you guys want to ask? If that's all, then we can move on to our next session. All right, so next I think will be the photo session. So I need you guys to turn on your camera and show your faces. Okay, because this is the last session for the front end development workshop already. So yeah, if you want to see yourself at our Instagram account or anything, yeah, just open your camera and show your faces right now. And meanwhile, you can maybe tidy up a bit. Okay, I can see some of you already. What about the others? If I say you don't open your cam, then you don't have merit, then everyone will open, right? Okay, okay, I can see some of you already, but there's still a lot of you that haven't opened your camera. So please, guys, don't be shy, okay? Yeah, don't need to make up and everything. Okay, only 7 of us. Come on, I need more faces. Okay, we will wait around 1 minute for the others to open. And meanwhile, just a little bit of promotion. So you guys can follow our Instagram account and also join our WhatsApp group, GDSC UPM, so that you can get more information about our future activities. And yeah, we are doing pretty much activities now. I mean, yeah, recently you can see that we have just done and talk. A talk few days ago, and then we have the second session of this front-end workshop today. So yeah, there are much more activities waiting for you to join. So if you are interested in knowing about more about like technologies and everything, you have to follow our Instagram account and join our WhatsApp group. Okay, don't miss out any chance to know more about this stuff. Yeah. Okay. So any more people want to open your cam? Okay. If that's all, then I think we can take the group photo already. So first photo freestyle, I just do anything. Okay. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Done. Okay. Next one we do the GDSC logo. Okay, this one. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you guys, thank you. So that's the end of the front-end development workshop. Thank you very much for the effort and teaching us so much about the front-end development throughout these 2 sessions. Really thanks very much. And then also thank you to our participants for joining us, because without you guys, we will be like very kesian lah. No people to join us. So yeah, thank you guys also. And please join our next, the following activities from GDSC, UPM. Yeah, see you guys in the future events. Good night and bye. Oh yeah, the last thing. Sorry, I forgot about one thing. The most important thing. Not most important. I mean the important thing about the merit. Yeah, okay. The attendance. Please scan the QR code. And then fill in the form to get your attendance and of course the merit. If you couldn't scan the QR code or if there's any problems, I think there's I'm sorry, the Google form link. Is it? Yeah, there's a link. So you can click the link to fill in your attendance also if you couldn't scan the QR code. And if you have done submitting your attendance, then you may go to rest already. Thank you very much for your participation and see you in the next event. Good night. Bye bye.